Hello, everyone. My name is Chrissie. If you are new to Quicksilver or are just learning about us, I am one of the co-founders of Quicksilver. I am so happy to have you on with us this evening. I will get started in just a moment. I want to make sure I give everyone joining us enough time to get on and get situated. If this is your first time being on a webinar like this, you can communicate with me through the text option. On my screen, it is in the upper right. You'll see it looks like a little message box. If you click on that, it should open up an area where you can type a message to me. If you have any questions, you can type that in there as well. Hello, hello. Or if you just want to say hello, you can go ahead and do that also. All right. Let's see. Tonight's training is likely going to end up only taking around 30 minutes. I know I blocked off a full hour, but hey, that 30 minutes will be packed full of great information. I have a lot of great information to share with you. Some of it you may be familiar with, but I am sure you will learn something on this webinar. My goal tonight is to show you facts in a way that maybe you have not thought about them before. So we'll get started in just a moment. I see a few more people hopping on. We had lots of people registered for this. Excuse me. All right, if you are just joining us, welcome. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day or has had a wonderful day. I have a lot of great information to share with you. It is not a requirement, but you may want to have something on hand to take notes with. I encourage it. There will not be a quiz at the end, but I do hope to say something. Well, a lot of things, but if only one thing I say to you resonates with you, I hope you will write it down and revisit it after this webinar. Think on it, take it seriously. I hope to say something tonight that maybe opens your mind or your eyes. Let's go ahead and get started. If you are new and are learning about Quicksilver for the first time, we want to start off by giving you a little bit of background information on Quicksilver. We first began actively taking orders on May 1st, 2019. So we've been around for many years, have processed and delivered countless orders throughout the years. We have formed many great relationships with our members as well as mints from here within the US and around the world. And being as though we launched in 2019, this means that we were forged in the fire of 2020 when many of the well-established silver and gold dealers were running out of silver and having to shut down their online sales due to runs on the precious metals market. We stayed open. We had a surplus of product. We were the ones that people turned to when they couldn't get their precious metals anywhere else. So we're very happy about that. And it really helped launch us from there. We are, like I said, officially began shipping product May 1st, founded in 2019. We are based in Sarasota, Florida, and a portion from all the funds from our sales goes to an organization called FMSC. FMSC is a phenomenal organization led by volunteers who help prevent starvation of children and families in some of the most dire areas of the world. If you want to learn more about FMSC and the work they do, I strongly encourage you to join me on one of the 2 weekly company overviews that I do. One is on Thursday night and the other is Saturday morning. You can get the links to those by either contacting the person who invited you to this webinar or by emailing us at support@quicksilver.me. Again, that is support@quicksilver.me. Our goal at Quicksilver is to help as many people as possible create wealth for themselves and to create generational wealth. To do that, you have to be aware of what is happening around you. If you are, then you're going to see things that others don't. You will start to make connections between things that you may not have noticed before. When it comes to what people in general know or learn, they typically learn two types of ways. Some people are more about book smarts. They love to learn. They know things that others don't. They know things that others didn't even know there was to know and never would have thought to know. My brother is that type of person. We can be in a group of people, family, friends, whatever, and someone will say something, anything, and my brother will deep dive into everything he knows on that subject. Sometimes to the point that you wished you hadn't brought up that subject. But other people are street smart. They learn better by doing. They grew up learning from trial and error, getting kicked in the gut and then standing right back up. They are observers. They are likely visual learners. They often don't do things the easy way. I gravitate more towards the street smart side. Both ways of gaining knowledge are perfectly fine. Most people fall somewhere in between those two. The one thing that both sides of the spectrum have in common is that facts are still facts. So let's get warmed up with some basic facts about what has been happening with the silver and gold industry recently. I will start with gold. Within the last 5 years, the value of gold has increased by 167%. In the last year, it has increased by 75%. When you look at silver within the last 5 years, it has increased by 220%. In the past year alone, it increased in value by 166%. So you look at these numbers and you see, 5 years on gold is roughly what has happened within the last year on silver. Imagine if your savings or earnings increased by that much. The US dollar or Canadian dollar, British pound, euro, etc., definitely did not increase by that much. And I have a perfect example to demonstrate that. Looking at cost of goods. In 1971, you could buy a loaf of bread for 25 cents or 1/5 of a gram of gold. Today, that same 1/5 of a gram of gold would get you 8 loaves of bread, roughly. How much bread are you going to get for a quarter today? If you go out to a diner or a cafe for breakfast, toast, just 2 slices of toast alone is at least $1.50, if not $2. That shows you just how much the dollar has lost in value, not being tied to the silver and gold standard like it once was. This means it costs you much more for the same amount of goods. You know this, you feel this, your money did not increase in value like silver and gold did. And I have news for you. Prices are not going to go down, at least not back to a level where they were 5 years ago, let's say. You will hear reports on the news about inflation being down, but that does not mean that the price of your necessities has gone down. If you have heard the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, If you don't find a way to increase what you're making, or at minimum increase the value of what you are keeping, you will unfortunately fall on the poorer side of that equation. I do not say that to scare you. I say it very frankly because some people on this webinar have not realized that yet. After this webinar, there is no excuse. You cannot look back one day, likely in the near future, and say, I did not know. I am telling you now. Let us help you. That is what we do. So, why is it that everything is costing more? What is the reason that one loaf of bread costs 1,200% more than that same identical loaf of bread cost just 55 years ago? Well, we were officially taken off the gold standard in 1971. It was a two-step process that took many years, but officially we were no longer on the gold standard as of 1971. Here you see these are images of two $1 bills. The top one is from current times. You can pull it out of your wallet and look at it right now. It will say across the top, Federal Reserve note. Back before we were taken off the gold standard, the words across the top said silver certificates. That means that you could have taken this $1 silver certificate into a bank and they would have had to give you $1 worth of silver. Now what we have are notes. They're pieces of paper tied to nothing but what the federal government says they are worth. And they took away that old system that was based off of actual silver and gold, real money, and traded it for a note backed by their word and their actions. There's a lot of problems with that, but the problem is the cost or value of all things, and I do mean all things, whatever it is, whether it's food, clothes, transportation, or even money itself. The value of all things fluctuates predominantly based on two things. Energy, that could be the fuel it takes to transport things, electricity to run the machines, or even simply manpower. All those things are energy. The second thing is supply and demand. So how does this translate into everything costing more? Energy costs have increased. Right now, you know, we're currently having a battle in the oil industry, essentially. Fuel prices had gone down briefly here in the US. We acquired a bunch of oil. That meant that we increased our supply and the demand stayed relatively the same for that brief period of time. But then war began, which is causing the supply of oil that we were getting to decrease dramatically. That the world was getting, you know, has decreased dramatically. Energy affects the cost of everything, everywhere in this world. Then you have the US dollar, which is what is paying for all of the energy. There is a shortcut to things that the government likes to take every so often. It's called quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is when a government decides to print a bunch more money to either make people happy by issuing them checks, think back to what happened during the pandemic, or the government does it to pay their bills. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all just print a bunch of money to cover our bills? If we do it, though, it's illegal, but when the government does it, they call it quantitative easing, and it's perfectly legal. So when they print more money, that means that there is more supply of money in the system. So think about that for a moment. When you have an increased supply of something, it makes it more readily available and therefore less valuable. Take a car, for example. This is a bit of an extreme example, but it helps clearly demonstrate this fact. This car is an extremely rare car. Yes, it is a finely crafted machine, but the bottom line is it is an extremely rare car. In fact, there are only 2 in the world. The cost or value of this car is around $140 million. In contrast, here you have a standard Toyota Camry. The going price for one of these is somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. Toyota produces roughly 300 to 400,000 of these a year. So the government's actions have, as of this moment in time, increased the supply of money, thus making it less valuable. Their actions have reduced the supply of energy, making it cost more. This divergence of the 2 very things that dictate the cost of things means that we pay more. This is why everything costs more. On the flip side of this, the value of silver and gold has gone up. The government is not printing more silver and gold. Silver and gold are finite resources. And to be completely honest, as of right now, we as people on this planet are consuming more silver than what is being mined right now. In 2024, global silver mine production was around 820 million ounces. Sounds like a lot. During that same time, in 2024, the demand for silver was 1.6 billion, with a B, billion ounces. Let that one sink in. Silver is in everything. Think about all the industrial uses there are for silver. It's in all electronics, solar panels. It has medical applications, electric vehicles. The list goes on and on. Speaking of electric vehicles, how much silver do you think is in an electric car battery? You can go ahead and type what you think in the comment section. I see people typing. Give it a second here. All right, 10 ounces, 5. All right, I see answers ranging from 1 to 10 ounces roughly. Those are all good guesses. Currently, there is approximately 1 to 2 ounces of silver per vehicle. I know that sounds low. However, new solid-state battery technology uses 1 kilo of silver per 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack. 1 kilo of silver is just over 32 troy ounces. So instead of more advanced EV batteries needing less silver in the future, they're going to need more. Silver, like I said, is a finite resource, just like gold. This means that as an industry consumes more and more silver, there will be less and less of it. This is something else to think about. What do you usually do with your old busted electronics? Most people put them in the trash. Landfills will be the new silver mines. There are actually more efforts now to retrieve the silver from electronics, but there is still a lot of silver getting thrown out. So with silver being finite and industry consuming more of it, do you think we will have more or less electronics in the future? Do you think things we use in our daily lives will become more technologically advanced or less? If silver is indispensable in all things electronic, do you think we will need more silver or less? Simple supply and demand show that silver is posed to increase dramatically. Gold is more typically stored or saved in bars, coins, and jewelry, opposed to used in industry. So that is why at Quicksilver, we lean more towards silver. It's posed to have the greatest return on investment as we move into the future. It has already begun. I mean, in the last 5 years alone, it has increased by 220%. If you are on this webinar and you are someone who is looking at Quicksilver for the first time, you are not too late. Do not worry. I have been asked many times what I think silver will do in the future. Some people, I think, just call me up to talk to me each year and say, hey, what do you think it's going to do? My answer is always the same. It's going to go up. I'm not saying that it won't pull back from time to time. There is rampant silver and gold price manipulation going on, but they can't suppress the value of precious metals and other rare earth minerals forever. If you do not know what I'm referring to when I say silver and gold prices are being manipulated and that it's happening, just Google it. There have been major court cases about it. In these court cases, evidence were produced and the verdicts were guilty. Fines were paid, all that kind of stuff, but it hasn't stopped anything. Another way price or value is being suppressed is through the commodities exchange futures market. It allows banks to sell massive amounts of paper silver, which is contracts on silver, without having the actual physical metal to back it up. The amount of paper silver far exceeds the actual physical silver available. So this creates an illusion of an abundance out there, which suppresses the prices. In addition, this is one especially relevant right now, governments have a vested interest in keeping silver prices low because due to silver's high electrical conductivity, thermal reflectivity, and resistance to extreme environments, silver is indispensable in advanced defense systems, weaponry, and space exploration. When you think about what's going on in the world right now, the government wants to increase our supply of military artillery and modernize it. They are unloading our old artillery. They want more advanced defense systems, a golden dome. Silver will be used in all of these things. I do not have a crystal ball. I cannot predict the future. I could be wrong about the value of silver increasing, of course, but with all the evidence to the contrary, I don't believe I am. We are already at a point where we use 1.16 billion ounces a year, but only mine between 820 and 850 million, not billion, million ounces. And globally, we are looking to increase technology, increase space exploration, create more advanced defense systems. There is no way that silver does not increase dramatically moving into the future. So if you think for 1 second that that big silver boom has passed, you are grossly mistaken. Here is another fact. The historical ratio prior to manipulation and prior to all the technology we have today was 11 to 1. That means that for every 11 ounces of silver, you should be able to get 1 ounce of gold. The spot price of gold today is around $5,200 per troy ounce. So according to the ratio, silver spot should be around $472 per troy ounce. Spot is currently sitting at around $86 to $88 per troy ounce. So you haven't seen anything yet, is my point. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what spot is. Okay, so spot is the cost. I know a lot of you, I see emails and stuff that come in through our support system, asking about that and why there's a difference in things between spot. Spot is the cost that people who trade silver or gold paper future contracts believe the value of silver straight out of the ground, which is before refining and minting, is valued at. It is what all silver and gold coins, bars, and rounds are based off of. Any price above spot price is the cost that it takes to refine and mint the product. So that's why finished products that you purchase, like coins, rounds, and bars, cost more than spot. So spot is the base, but then all the cost that it takes to refine and produce that finished product, that is the cost over spot that you are seeing. So back to this ratio thing. What silver should be, all right, so silver should be based on the historic ratio, but remember I said that that was back before it was being manipulated, and that was during a time when we did not have the technology we have today. Back before we had all these industrial uses for it. So if that is what it should be without all those industrial uses, what do you think it really should be now? If you are not, I'll take this moment to say this, if you are not already a member of Quicksilver, I encourage you to set up an account right after this webinar and start having silver and or gold shipped to your door automatically each month. Get ahead of this now, all right? So the great thing about Quicksilver is we have options to fit every budget. Set up as much or as little as you can comfortably afford, all right? Do not look back years down the road and wish you had. Set it up right after this webinar. If you walk away and say you'll get to it tomorrow or this weekend, it usually gets forgotten. I know that's how I am about things. I have to strike in the moment while I'm thinking about it. So definitely right after this webinar, set that up. I don't want you to look back on this and wish you had. One of the things that I am especially happy with is that time and time again, Quicksilver has proven to be the steady beacon that has helped many people navigate their way through rough waters in the precious metals industry. We do our research, we analyze what is happening, we try to foresee every possible scenario to get ahead of it, no matter what direction things go, or no matter what happens in the silver and gold industry. Now, we cannot control everything. I like to be honest and as transparent as possible. So in the spirit of being honest and transparent, here are some things that we cannot control, all right? The mail carriers and the machines they use to deliver the mail. Sometimes a machine eats a package. Sometimes a machine or a person accidentally sorts a package into a sack that's being sent to Nevada when it should be going to Atlanta or Alabama. Or Sometimes semi-trucks carrying mail end up in a 27-car pileup on an icy road in Vermont. This is out of our control. However, rest assured, every single order we ship is insured. So if something like this goes wrong, we will make sure you get what you ordered. It may not be as quickly as you expected it, but you will 100% get it. Another thing we can't control, delays in the base physical metal being imported into the country. Now, we do advance purchase to ensure that we can weather anything we see coming, but even with us doing that, there are instances like January 1st of this year when China enacted a, where is it right here? China enacted a law restricting who they will ship silver to. 80% of the world's silver is refined in China. There's a fun fact for you. Most of the world's silver is mined in Central and South America. It is then sold to China in its raw form because China has the infrastructure to effectively and efficiently refine the silver. So this is why 80% of the world's refined silver comes from China. They have the machines to do this. They invested in the machines to do this, where other countries did not. So anyways, that is one of the things that caused a huge bottleneck in the silver industry this year. You may have noticed that a lot of other online silver and gold companies were selling out or had month-long shipping delays, or they were pre-selling metals they did not yet have. I actually saw one of the largest reputable online silver dealers who had pre-sale expected ship dates of the end of April and even into June. So they were allowing people to purchase these things and not basically notifying these things aren't going to sell or be shipped to you for many months. We also ran into shipping delays, but ours were like 2-week delays. But all of this, with all of the companies, it was not the online direct-to-consumer retailers' faults, okay? It was that the mints were so far behind in minting the products because they had new hoops to jump through and restrictions causing delays in them getting the pure silver blanks to be able to mint the coins. That's where it started. Then all the online shops started to sell out because the mints were behind, which caused the cost or price or value or whatever you want to call it to increase. So if you're wondering what happened, these are the things that were back behind the initial surge of this, the price increase. So yeah, all the shops began selling out because the mints were behind, caused the price to go up. People started to freak out for a couple of reasons. One was they wanted to get their silver before it was gone. And the other reason is because they wanted to get their silver before the prices went up even more. There was a limited supply at the same time that demand was through the roof because of the limited supply. So it kind of circles back on itself. That is what was behind a lot of the initial surge this past time. Then, as things cooled off a little, which was expected, but now because of all of this, it caused people to realize what a valuable commodity silver is. More people are starting to understand. all of a sudden, all of my fellow silver bugs who have been touting the importance of silver, those of you who have been screaming it from the rooftops, trying to help people see, I see you. All of a sudden, people are actually starting to listen. And once you see the value, once you see the path that is ahead of silver, you get it. That's why it is holding where it is right now, but it's only taking a breather. Watch out for the future. In fact, don't just watch out for the future, prepare for it. There are three types of people in the world: those who watch things happen, those who make things happen, and those who wonder what happened. If you had any questions, go ahead, take the time right now to message them over to me. I do see some here already. Let me kind of scan through these while you type anything else that you had. It looks like many of them I've covered. Someone asked if this will be recorded. Yes, it is recorded. I will email out a recording of it to everyone who registered for the webinar. I will email it to you tomorrow. That's another thing. If you want to hear one of the webinars or trainings that I do, but you will not be able to join at that particular time, go ahead and register for it at least, because I do send out recordings to everyone who registers. All right. Let's see. All right, someone asked, what is a troy ounce? A troy ounce is the unit of measure that silver and gold are weighed using. It is different from a standard ounce. So 1 troy ounce is about 1.1 standard ounces. So for example, if you have 10 1-ounce silver coins, the actual weight in standard ounces you have is 11 standard ounces, but 10 troy ounces. I know it's weird. You would think we could just pick one thing and stick with it. Okay, let me see here. All right, so it looks like that's it for the questions. I hope that you learned something from tonight's training. If you are already a member of Quicksilver, I hope what I said tonight ignited excitement in you and reaffirmed what you already knew about silver and its future. If you are not yet a member of Quicksilver, get started now. Ask the person who invited you to this webinar tonight for their link. If you have any other questions that maybe you did not ask on this training, or maybe I missed them, because it is possible there's a lot of stuff going on, please either email the person who invited you to this webinar, or you can also email support@quicksilver.me. Again, that is support@quicksilver.me. We will be happy to answer those questions for you. Whatever you do not wait to get started. The silver people bought 5 years ago has increased in value by 220%. What may the silver you buy today increase by in 5 years? What about 10 years from now? 15? The time is now. Secure your future. No one else is going to do it for you. So definitely get back to the person who introduced you to this webinar and get started. It is never too late. Act now. Get ahead of this. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your day.